guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris. Today we're diving into the round 2 collaboration with JKissa and e.l.f. So we have 3 items today, which is a brush set which costs $25. These are the brushes, and I did use every single brush today, so I will give you my full honest thoughts. We have an eyeshadow duo that's called Tshuki to My Heart. This costs $12. And then of course we have the palette, which is of course the star of the show, and this costs $20. Now, just in case you don't know, everything you're about to see is a limited edition item. So if you like anything that you see here, I would highly suggest picking it up before it sells out. I picked up the entire collection through e.l.f. when they did the early release launch. Everything you're about to see will be available today in select Ulta beauty stores, depending if they're open or not. Now, of course, I'm not going to encourage you guys to run out of your house and go get it. Some of the Ulta stores do have curbside pickup, so if you're comfortable with that, then of course I would say go get it. But I can tell you right now that on e.l.f.'s site, the only thing available is the Duo eyeshadow. To the Rescue eyeshadow palette and the Furever brushes are completely sold out. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the brushes first. We have 6 brushes in this collection, and honestly I'm really impressed with how they performed. So here they are up close. I do love the handle. Very pretty, colorful handle. The brushes are synthetic, but they are really soft. They're not rough, which is great. Each of these brushes, by the way, do say e.l.f. times JKissa, and they do have a number, so they start from J1 all the way to J6. My favorite brush out of all these is J4, because if you've been on my channel for a long time, then you have heard me say Morphe or M222 brush. I use that in almost every single video. This is very similar to that brush, so I immediately use this first in the eye demo. Another one of my favorite brushes from this collection is the J1 brush, because it's really great with packing on the shimmer. You can also use this for the lower lash line or to pack in the inner corner eye. It's flat, it's nice and chunky. Very good brush. And then I did use the J5 brush, which is this angled flat brush, which you kind of use for an eyebrow and things like that, or even liner. I actually used this to cut my crease, and the reason why is because it was kind of perfect in making just that line a perfect line. So I used it to cut my crease. You can use these brushes any way you want. They're your brushes. You guys will see these bad boys in action during the eye demonstration. Now, I do have 2 eye looks on today. I, of course, wanted to use every single product on my list today. I'm not an MUA guy, so if you're new here, don't try to come at me. I am learning as I go. This is very loud, very colorful. I've been always comfortable with colors. With that being said, let's show the eyeshadow palettes. This is, of course, the box that I showed you earlier. In the back, it gives just a bit of information and things like that. The eyeshadow palette does contain talc and mica. It has 15 grams worth of product, made in China, and it has 12 months worth of shelf life. It's also vegan and cruelty free, okay? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, not every e.l.f. palette has been a big hit with me. I was a little bit concerned with buying this palette, but I can tell you right now, I'm so happy that I got it because it's thebomb.com. I'm very happy with the way it performed. There are some things that I think you should know about, but other than that, it's definitely worth $20. It's a really great palette. So this is how the palette looks. This is not how you're going to specifically get it. These are stickers that I put on my own palette. They send a little sticker sheet inside the palette, so when you get it, it's actually just plain white, and it's gonna say e.l.f. times JKissa to the rescue. That is it. Everything else I added. So I just want to show you guys what I did for mine. Put Romeo, because this was my first dog ever. He is basically the guard dog of the house. He's a Yorkie. Both Romeo and Evie were abused, and it was a very, very long journey to get him to where he is today. But he's such a cutie pie, and we love him so much. And then I put Evie, which is my second dog. She is a hot mess right now because she ain't got no haircut, but this is my baby. She is a big time cuddler. If you stop petting her, she tries to grab your hand with her paw. And then I also put ChrisMo Beauty, just in case my sister comes to my house and tries to steal my palettes. So anyways, I know that that is like a bunch of stuff that you probably didn't even want to care about or didn't want to hear. JKissa actually did encourage people to even paint on it. So whatever you want to do, it is your palette, your baby, get creative. Okay, enough about that. Let's go ahead and open up the palette. When you open it up, it looks like this. These are all of the colors. It does come with a big mirror. You cannot fold this all the way back. But here is the color story. She did say that she just wanted to make her interpretation of a rainbow palette. I was like, okay, another rainbow palette. Like, do I really need another rainbow palette? The answer, honestly, is no, I don't. I have a whole bunch of rainbow palettes. But I was really curious about e.l.f. because one, it's affordable, and two, the formula for me is either great or it's not so great. So I was really curious about this palette. One thing I really liked in terms of the layout is that you have the reds, the orange, the yellows, the greens, blues, purples all together in one line. To me, that's really good for beginners if you want to start with colors and you're brand new to that. This might be a really great palette to use because you have the light red, the kind of dark or burgundy red, and then the shimmer. This is a look all on its own, these three, and the same goes for the rest of them. Now, in terms of the formula, guys, the shadows are pigmented. They show up very nicely. I do put concealer on my lids like I do any other video. All the names in this palette are after dogs, by the way. So we have 18 shadows. Out of the 18, we have 12 that are mattes and 6 that are shimmer. Let me go ahead and show you guys the swatches. For the mattes, I went in 2 times for every swatch. For the shimmers, I went in 1 time. I'm really impressed with how the shimmers feel. They are nicely pressed in the pan. They do come out nice and smooth when you swatch with a finger. And the mattes feel pretty good too. No complaints there. Let me go ahead and show you guys some swatches now. I'm going to take Yosemite, which is a really beautiful yellow. However, you have to be very careful with Yosemite because it is super duper soft and you can experience a lot of fallout on your face. Let's take this orange Millie. I use every single color, so I honestly don't know what to take right now. I'm going to take Reagan and I'm going to take Bailey. These 4 right here. Ooh. Here we go. It's the yellow, orange, oof, that's, and this one. And here we go. Not too bad for e.l.f., let me tell you that right now. Then we have the Tshuki To My Heart Eyeshadow Duo. This is the box. In the back, it looks like this, which just gives a bunch of information in terms of the product. This holds 0.32 ounces. The bottom one, which is I'm Pup Set, contains mica. I did use this today with the actual applicator. I'm going to show you guys some swatches right now. Here is what a pretty smile. Go. Hope you guys can see that. In person, I can see green, blue, red, especially when it bounces off of the vanity lights. Now let me show you Pup Set. It's right here. There you go. It is such a really beautiful shade. Now it's time to go ahead and dive into this eye demo. Like I said earlier, I did do 2 different eye looks, so if you want to see a specific eye look, then I would suggest just going to the timestamps down below and jumping to that timestamp. The rainbow eye, I did of course put down concealer like I mentioned earlier, and then I patted it in with a Juno & Co sponge. Then I went in with the J4 brush and I picked up Pepper and I put that for the first color for the outer wing. Using the same brush, I went in with Zuma. Blending Zuma and Pepper, by the way, took like 2 seconds to do. Continuing with the J4 brush, I went in with Paloma and I placed her right next to Zuma. I did go in about 2 or 3 times to build up that color. Following Paloma, I went in with Tank, again with the same brush, and I purposefully did not take a lot because it is a dark shadow and it's very pigmented. And the same goes for Thatcher, which is the dark blue matte right next to Tank. Once again, going in little by little. Lastly, for that row, I went with Pretty Girl. At first, when I put on Pretty Girl, I thought it looked more blue, but it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. So after finishing that row, I went back to the beginning, slightly on top and above that, using the same brush. I went in with Casey. I didn't put too much. I just took my time building up that color, and the same goes for Millie. Now, honestly, Millie is one of my favorite shades in this palette. Next to Zuma, though, it does kind of blend as one color on the lid. Next, I picked up Yosemite, which is that yellow I talked about earlier that has a lot of fallout. And using her, going lightly, I experienced more fallout for the other eye, so we'll get to that later. Then I picked up some Peaky using the same brush, and I put that right next to Yosemite. Following Peaky, I put in Coloni, again with the same brush. Again, trying to go in very lightly with that color. Lastly, I went in with Sadie. Sadie is one of the other colors that is one of my favorites from this palette. Of course, it is purple, so yes, I am semi-biased. Then I went ahead and I softened it out and I blended up above everything I just did with the J3 brush. Next, I go ahead and I cut my crease, and as I mentioned earlier, I do use the flat angled brush for that, which is the J5 brush. I've never tried cutting a crease with this kind of brush. It felt so natural just using it to go across the lid. It almost felt like I was using a pencil just drawing on my face. After patting it down, I went ahead and I used the J1 brush to now tap into these shimmers. So I do start off with confetti, and with all of the shimmers I'm about to use, I do use a dry brush. I don't wet it whatsoever. And I place confetti right under Pretty Girl. I wanted my lid to represent the actual palette, which is why I just kept everything in its row, which is just like the palette. So with that being said, I went with Bailey. Bailey is a really pretty blue. Following Bailey, I went with Reagan. Reagan is also a very beautiful green. I do use it again in the other eye look. Firefly, which is next, does not disappoint. I will say it looks more gold in the pan. On the lids, it does look more yellow. Now, I didn't take Tshuki and put that for the orange because Tshuki, even though it looks orange in the pan, is more of a highlight. So instead, I went in with Strawberry, and I put that for the remainder of the cut crease. After finishing with Strawberry for the lid, then I went back in with Tshuki, and I put that on my brow bone, and look at that. Woo! I also tapped it right in the inner corner of my eye. And then I got a little bit too obsessed with this, so I took the J2 brush, and I wanted to use it as kind of like a highlighter brush, and I took up Tshuki and I put that on my cheek. For the lower lash line, I did use the J1 brush. I went back into Pretty Girl. I took that from the back of the lower lash line and I dragged it all the way to about midway. When I reached the middle, I stopped and I went back to the palette to pick up Sadie. And then I filled her in with the rest. Later on, I did go back to this eye to use the J6 brush, which is just a really flat brush, a waterline brush, and I went with Bailey. I just put that all across my waterline. So now that that eye was set, I went on to the next eye look. Of course, I did put my concealer down. I took up the J4 brush and I started off with Tank. I put it in my crease and all the way out into a wing. Using the same brush, I went back in with Peaky and I put that slightly on top and above Tank. And as you can see, I was not kidding when I tell you guys that these shadows are pigmented. On top of Peaky and above it, I did go in with Yosemite, but once again, it did have a lot of fallout. Now, it wasn't a big deal, you guys. I just took a big powder brush and I wiped it off and it went away. It didn't stay on my face, so still no complaints about that. It did take time to blend these guys together. Then once again, I take the J5 brush and I cut my crease. I do the entire wing all the way out. To pat it in, I went in with Reagan, and I did use my finger at first because I was just curious to see if the shimmers would look better with the finger. In all honesty, I do feel like the shimmers look so much better with the finger application, but it does look really pretty still with the brush. So I did start off using my finger, but then I completed the rest of this back wing with the brush. So at this point, I wanted to try the Eyeshadow Duo. I did use both of these, and I started off with I'm Pup Set, which is of course the green at the bottom. When applying it, I did use the actual applicator straight to the lid. I'm not a huge fan when it comes to liquid eyeshadows because I have creases on my lid, and most of the time it cracks, it looks gross, and I end up being really upset with how it looks. So, but I will say this is a very beautiful shade. For the rest of the lid, I used the other side, which is What a Pretty Smile. I even dragged it all the way down into the inner corner of my eye. For the lower lash line, I went back in with the J1 brush and I picked up Tank. Just like the other eye, I start off at the back all the way to the middle, and once I reached the middle, I went back into the palette with Peaky and I filled that in for the rest of the lower lash line. Then I went ahead and I went back with Eyeshadow Duo because I was like, you know what, I wonder how What a Pretty Smile would look as a highlighter. So I put that as my brow bone and on my cheek as well, and you can see it. It's really pretty. I liked it so much that I went ahead and I used it for my nose as well. And then to complete this eye look, I went in with the J6 brush for the waterline, and I picked up Reagan and I just dragged it back and forth until the waterline was completely covered. Lastly, I put on some Glam Light Calligrapher liner, Tarte Biggie mascara, and Glam Light Brooklyn Style lashes. And these are the two looks that I created today. So here are my overall thoughts with this collection. The palette, definitely get this. This is amazing. You're not going to regret this. I'm really happy with the formula. I honestly feel like this is the best e.l.f. palette that I have ever gotten, ever. The brushes work well too. I think $20 for 6 brushes is a pretty good price, especially for a drugstore brand. And once again, everything is limited edition. Now lastly, the Eyeshadow Duo. Now in all honesty, you guys, this was my least favorite of the whole collection. It ends up breaking up the shadows. It is happening right now, right there at the crease. I did notice that earlier and I went ahead and I reapplied it. I even like closed my lids. I kept fanning my eye to let it dry up to see if maybe that would help, but I can still see a cracking there, and it's just my lids. Now if you don't experience that problem when it comes to liquid shadows, then definitely get this. But I did enjoy using this a lot for a highlighter. So once again, you guys, this is going to be available today in Ulta stores. You can call ahead of time, see if maybe you can do curbside pickup and things like that. The eyeshadow palette is already sold out online, and so is the brush set, but the eyeshadow duo is available. Let me know all of your thoughts and comments down below, and let me know if you're going to try and snag anything from this collection, or if you already did and you're excited to get it. And I, of course, will chit chat with you guys back and forth in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.